And so he had already gotten Rick to write for one of his catalogs, and he wanted me to write something for this next one. And I don't really know how to do art crit speak, so I always tell painters that if they want me to write about their work, I'm just going to write a story. So I wrote this text that spins off of Fred's work, and I'll give you a glance at it. It may be familiar to you, even if you don't recognize his name. Fred, what he does, that's his sort of signature operation, is he glues to these vast black backgrounds. He glues flowers and butterflies and leaves and also lots of drugs. Marijuana leaves and pills and all sorts of illicit substances get stuck on the canvas and then covered in this beautiful glaze so that they are no longer things of material of the natural world and can't be ingested anymore. And then he gets into all sorts of trouble when he ships these paintings across international lines because they sort of are and aren't. He isn't a drug smuggler, but they're very, very beautiful images, and he forms out of these pasted on flowers and objects. He forms these terrific, and here's some pictures of him in operation, and all of this, of course, in Brooklyn in his loft in Williamsburg. Anyway, that's a long preamble. When I looked at his work, what it reminded me of, and I started talking to him, I visited his studio and thought about what I wanted to write. I said, what you're doing isn't totally different from being like a 12-year-old nerd and pasting stamps in a stamp album. And did you ever do that? And he turned out to have been this kind of collector kid, which is something I identified with. So I wrote a piece called The Collector, about a kind of cosmic stamp collector, and so on. The collector started with pennies, or seashells he could no longer recall. The two were opposites, married in his obsessive vision. The seashells, indifferent and pre-cultural, washed out of circulation on the shore, or came to him in tissue paper cushioned packages from a warehouse inventory. No two were alike, as with fingerprints or snowflakes, yet they conformed to hierarchies of scarcity and value, made a subject for catalogs and lists. That these shells were also skulls, an assembly of carapaces, opened a first doorway into the morbidity of his love. Abraham Lincoln, on the other hand, was a crazed, worthless token, brown and bearded, a filthy tide of not silver pouring from his parents' pockets, subject to secret reorganization in embossed cardboard folders. A penny was not so much money as the DNA of money. Spotting the year and the mint of signatures under Lincoln's nose was the first act of reading the secret inscriptions that underwrote the universe, a child's garden of conspiracy.